One of the seemingly simple tasks that we're sometimes called on to do is to take out steady-state noise that's pitched like hum. 60-cycle hum in the US and Japan and a few other countries, or 50-cycle hum that shows up in recordings in the rest of the world. While this does relate to legacy recordings, it does show up sometimes in modern recordings as well, especially location recordings. So if you look at the spectrogram here, I'm going to get the waveform out of the way, you can see the hum that exists in this recording. And we have two options for how to approach it. One is by using something called, strangely enough, the de-hum module. So if I scroll up here and pull it up, you can see the module itself, and we can put it in static mode, in which case it will pull in some number, and we can choose how many we want, up to 8 notch filters that we can tune to the hum that's within the recording. So if I'm looking at this here and follow the hum over to the legend on the right, we're looking at probably 60, 120, and 180 hertz. So I can deselect everything but these three. I can adjust the Q of the filters and make them a little bit wider for taking the hum out, and then see what happens when I run the de-hum module here. It may be a little bit hard to hear the hum unless you have headphones on and you're listening carefully. Hum can sometimes be distracting and insidious, but not always obvious on first listen. So let me just process it so you can see it has reduced the level of the hum that exists throughout the recording. Obviously, we'd want to listen to it before and after and make sure we hadn't harmed the recording. One of the strategies you can use both to identify the sound and make sure you're not taking out something that you want to keep in RX is by checking the box that indicates that when you're listening, you will be outputting the sound that you're removing only. It's kind of an A minus phase flipped B, if you will. And that way, when you listen, if you hear any of the desired signal showing up, that's being affected by the denoising, and it's a good way to kind of modify your results and make sure you're not digging too deep. We can adjust the depth of the cut, if you will. You can also change the time domain of the filters from standard analog to linear phase. When you're dealing with low-frequency hum removal, it's almost always better to not use linear phase filters, because linear phase filters exhibit a phenomenon called pre-ringing, and the ringing from a filter at 60 hertz may be just as bad as the hum itself. So when you're evaluating how much to take out and how to tune the filters, you can always use the preview button. So you can hear that I'm listening to the output of the filters themselves. For those sound design buffs in the audience, you might find some interesting creative uses of this. At any rate, but I will tune it to 60 cycles. There are presets here, and you can see that this is a smartly arranged preset that's got a deepest cut at the fundamental and lesser cuts at the higher harmonics. You can preview it, adjust, and then once you're satisfied with the result, obviously you can hit render. The second way of dealing with hum removal is in the context of the spectral denoiser. And while the spectral denoiser isn't really designed just for this task, if I were to learn the noise spectrum across this entire recording, you will notice that at the bottom of the signature of the noise, it has picked out 60 hertz, 120 hertz, and 180 hertz as frequency components within the noise. And we can adjust the amount of reduction that's happening to the tonal components as opposed to the broadband, non-clumpy, non-frequency specific aspects of the noise. So you can use the spectral denoiser as well to remove hum and also to remove other types of noise. If you want to use the spectral denoiser just to remove hum, you could also constrain the frequency of the effect of the spectral denoiser. So there are many, many different ways of approaching these tasks.